Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another weekly episode where we look at some book covers, talk about why they're awesome, offer a few ideas on how to make them even better, and then let you vote for your favorite in the link down below. Speaking of down below, there are all kinds of things down there. There's the opportunity to vote. We're currently doing the November Book Cover of the Month overall award, so you can vote on your favorite out of those 4 book covers. And also, I'm your humble host, M.L.S. Weech, and I'm an independent author. And I would be greatly honored if you took a look at my author link, looked at some of my books, and see if maybe one of them interests you. That would be awesome. Because we're moving forward with December, that means we get to name the winner from last week and then get started on week 2 for December. And then when we get 4 book covers, we'll do the December book cover month and keep working until we create the 2021 MLS Weech book cover of the year category, where all the 12 winners will be in one poll with a winner-take-all championship for the bragging rights in this distinguished title. It can only actually be distinguished if you get word out, so if you can like it, subscribe it, and share it. That way we give these artists the credit they deserve and get these authors some well-deserved acknowledgement for their books. Without further ado, let's get into discussing our current winner from last week, and that would be School for Spirits. That's by Aaron Lewis. I honestly thought that this book cover was really unusual. I love the detail in the dress and in the hair. The background is clean. The more I stare at it, the more I like it. Even if I don't know why I'm looking at it. So it doesn't always work, but when you have something that makes people stare at it for a minute, you're at least doing something right, because your product is linking in someone's mind, and this does the job. Congratulations to Aaron Lewis and whoever designed this book. Yours is the first book cover entered in the overall December poll, and now we can get started talking about the nominees for week 2. This is going to be just a little bit different because I literally forgot my laptop today, so I had to send the links to myself. So we're going to look at the actual Amazon page and then save them and put them in a file so that I can create the poll and do all that other stuff. But you are going to notice that you're going to be looking at actual web pages rather than just individual files, but it should make actually viewing the images easier too. The first one we're going to talk about is The Stalking Dead by Eva Chase. I think it's Eva, it might be Eva Chase. And that's this guy right here. So I like the color. The light is at least somewhat obedient to the rules of light overall. The detail in the figure is rendered. We have a couple portrait style covers in the competition, and they kind of shine or flop depending upon the preferences of the viewer. But when you have that detail, the hands are at least doing something. Little splashes of color here and there to attract the eye. So all of these little elements add up to a nice to look at cover, even if it's not a terribly original cover. So we're just gonna click the save image as thing right here. And my 6-year-old laptop is gonna bring this up as quickly as it can. And then we'll save it and send it over to the correct bracket. So, like I said, very, very fast computer. We're going to turn that part off because I'll see the save come up when it does. I'm just looking at the spinning wheel of death. And while it does that, there it goes. We're going to go here. Hello. Probably only going to do this for this one cover and then get moving on, because this is much too slow a process for the video that I want to do right now. I thought it'd be cool watching us get it loaded in there, but it looks like it's going to take its sweet, sweet time. And I don't want that to be an issue. In fact, I'm going to try to cancel this. definitely going to cancel this. We'll just minimize it for now. So the next book cover we're going to talk about is Infinite by Duncan Ralston. We're going to bring this up so you guys can see it too. This is a nice reflective technique. I like covers where there's some dynamic balance. And it's interesting because you have a day side and a night side, which is pretty cool. The text is actually something I'm a fan of. I wish I don't like, we call those glowing edges, the little lights along around the edges of each letter. Those aren't necessarily my favorite. And then it is also unique in that on the alternate side, the night side, you don't have the same silhouette. So I wonder if that's indicative of a plot device or not. But what matters is that's great color, that's great detail. It's a nice use of the reflection technique. It's a pretty solid book cover. So now that I realize my dreams of saving this while I did this video were dead, we're just going to keep on rolling. So the next book cover we're going to do is Out of the Grave by George Elmer. So this again follows the reflective technique. It's very interesting because it looks like she's already in a body of water. And what's weird is when you're in a body of water, there's no light on which to reflect your image. So is she floating down? And if so, why is the image upside down? There are times when I look at a cover like this and I immediately hate it because I don't understand why it's doing things that aren't physically possible in accordance to the way light travels and the way light works. And then there are times when I'm like, well, it's making me stare at it. I still love the detail and the flowing gown. Flowing gowns are a thing these days. I don't know. But I love the ethereal feel out of it. I don't like the text. I can read it. It's legible, so it works. But I think it's weird and quirky without being purposeful. And so I'm not the biggest fan of that. Also, it doesn't need to be that big when it's like the only text. You got the author text up there. The author text is hard to see. I don't think it's in the same font family, but it's on the reflection we're supposed to be looking at. You could have brought that author text and put it right under the title text, and then it wouldn't be in the way of another visual element. But the artistic rendering in and of itself is just stunning, even if it's not in any way obedient to the way light works. So that is up to you guys to decide. You can vote for your favorite, but I'm just here to share my opinions. The next one we're going to look at is called the Yuleide King. And this puppy is all about color. It's all about the color. I just love it. Obviously, it's a holiday themed book. But that outfit, that art, that rendering with the green overlapping the red bow and the use of the text, obviously this book by Claire Marta isn't going to be as marketable in June as it is in November, but it doesn't change the fact that this is very clearly a Christmas book of some kind. And it's marketing to all the people who are in the mood to read a Christmas story of some sort. And this really, really does its job. So on one hand, I really want to applaud it because, book covers and posters and all these other things are all about marketing to your audience. So if you're like, I have a Christmas book, I want people to buy it for Christmas, all those things really, really work. But on the other side of it, like this, I would never pick this cover in the middle of June. So I kind of wonder how this cover is going to do, because maybe that heartstring it's flicking for the sake of the holiday spirit might actually work in this cover. But then we're going to get through the other months in the book cover of the month, and I don't know. So I'm very, very curious. But that color, that art, that style, that use of theme, you got to give it some kind of credit. So big ups, congratulations. We're ready to move on. The Knowledgeseeker by Ray Knightley is the next cover on our list. And this is another portrait style cover. So I like how we're filling in here. So you got a lot of light going on in the back. So when you have backlight, you're going to silhouette your figure. And in some way, shape, or form, there needs to be a light that fills in the shadows. So what I think works here is the figure himself from an exposure point of view, the value that you see in the figure in front of you, it's darker than you would expect. but it's obedient to what light would do if you were like literally taking a picture in the scene and you didn't have like a little flash on hand for you. The background is interesting. If you notice like the little wisp or whatever's going on with the building in the background, that's leading you right to the eyes of the figure, who's leading you straight down to the text. So you got the little flare up at the top. So you see title, figure, building, figure, author, text. That's we call that directional lines of force when you're using visual elements to lead the eye around where you want it to go. And this does that in great detail. So I don't know. This Goodreads reviewer says that this book is worth its weight in gold. So you know, it's only one person's rated it, but he certainly likes it. So you know, take it for what it's worth. But I personally want to endorse the cover. It's a nice cover that's obedient. It's not as flashy. The other portrait covers are maybe a little more visually interesting, but it's still a good execution of light, a good execution of composition. It's a well executed cover. So, you know, it kind of creates an interesting dynamic. The next book cover we're going to talk about is another portrait cover, and that's Blood and Malice by Sarah Piper. So we're going to bring it up. Anytime it's called a portrait cover when the figure is not really doing anything other than like, ooh, here's some cool magic powers I have, or behold the cool looking sword or axe or mace or insert weapon I have here. You have nice dynamics in using energy, because like someone just standing there looking at you, there's got to be a pose of some kind. So using the hair and using the flame around the figure to create that energy is going to help out. I think it's pretty interesting. Again, so here this figure is backlit. Photographically, you could do this. You would use a light, whether it be a flash or a reflector or something, to fill in the details of the figure. And that's a thing you could do. So while it's weird looking at something backlit that's not silhouetted, because it's a thing that you can do photographically, it doesn't feel fake to me. It doesn't feel slapped on. The background's maybe not as interesting. I think a lot of these, like, that background's more interesting. That lighting is better executed. This rendering of the human is better executed. I don't know which one stands out to me. If one of these stands out to you, let me know in the comments down below, just so we can get some discussion going on. But I liked this because of the energy. Fire is something that draws my eye. Don't worry, I'm not lighting anything on fire these days. But it's just a cool appearance on a book cover. So I'm always interested. I go way back to the classic X-Men. The Phoenix Saga is probably one of my more favorites. I love the X-Men animated series rendition of that saga. So it tugs my heartstrings every time it does it. And on a side note, it just crushes my soul every time they poorly execute the Dark Phoenix Saga. Maybe Marvel will do it right. I'd go. I'm going to keep giving you shots, because if you do it right, I'm just going to love it. That's a huge tangent, but I had to say it. This cover is nice. It's got great energy. It's got good color. The text is legible. It makes sense for the cover and the genre that we're working on. So those are all good things too. We only have one book cover left to talk about. It wouldn't be an MLS Weech book cover of the month announcement if there was not a dragon in there somewhere. I don't know that I have a dragon in every one, but if you have dragons on your book cover, I'm going to at least take notice. These are cool silhouetted dragon figures moving around some sort of galaxy. So that's interesting. This is Apocalypse, Lonely Apocalypse by Constantine Stepp. Now, if you look in the title, you're looking at the same thing I see. I don't know if it's called Left Out by the System, which is part of the Lonely Apocalypse series, or if it's Lonely Apocalypse, which is part of the Left Out of the System series. Either way, that's the whole title. If you like the cover or you're interested in reading more, you can follow the link yourself and see what's going on there. But the silhouettes are interesting. There's enough separation in each of these to help the eye make out what these figures are doing. The title text is legible, if not effective. And you know, dragons are pretty cool. So those round out the covers for this week. You are more than welcome to pick your favorite. Please also note, remember, there are 2 polls. You can vote for your favorite for this week, and there's still time to vote for the best cover out of all the month of November. And I would really appreciate it if you did both. I hope you have a fantastic week. Thanksgiving coming on up, and I hope you enjoy that. Eat lots of turkey, watch lots of football, and as always, God be with you. Bye.